I've had MS for nearly 30 years now. I've been diagnosed with MS, and the impact on my life in many ways, not only physical but physical as well, has been quite dramatic. I used to fall off my shoes a lot. I had a lot of sprained ankles, and then I used to play a lot of squash, and I was on a squash court and I literally actually couldn't pick my leg up, and my legs were freezing cold, and the next day I sort of numbness and spread over my body, and very quickly I lost my sight, and within 2 weeks I was in hospital. The first 4 years were quite horrendous in the sense of, you know, we used ACTH treatment, which was injectable only by intramuscular needle, for nearly 2.5 years to get me back walking and up again. Photography has always been a big thing in my life, and I've set little goals along the way as I've improved and practiced, and I said, look, this is what I want to do, and then we'll go and do it. Oh, my family don't even talk about it. It's not a subject. They're 13,000 miles away, so I don't really mind too much. But friends, I've got, you lose friends because people don't understand it, and also because it's quite an invisible disease. I look as healthy as anything, and I am as healthy as anything. But it can be quite invisible, so people don't understand it. If I could do one thing in my life, what would it be? And it was, of course, immediately go back to Antarctica. And when you're living in 2 and 6pence a week, you sort of think, it's not going to work terribly well. So I had to work out a proposal whereby I could get to Antarctica, raise awareness and funds for MS research through a group called Foundation 5 Million, which I'm involved with. And so where everybody benefited, which is what we want in a sort of, I'm an old sales girl, I can't help myself. So we looked at, sort of what benefits there were for each participant, and we raised quite substantial funds for MS research and a lot of awareness in the press as well. I can tell you a little bit about my financial situation. I'm a Scottish girl, I believe in insurance, and I did try and get income protection insurance, but because I had to disclose a pre-existing condition, it wasn't really an option for me. It does make things difficult. I have a very quiet and small life, but I love that. I zoom around Newtown, I do volunteer work, I exercise, I write. So I had to go for government assistance when you have to, my health deteriorated, and work-wise, I'd gone through my savings. I get my disability pension, which is, I think it's $253 now, but they're discriminating against single people in New South Wales at the moment. And then I get a mobility allowance, which is not income dependent, but for that I have to do 32 hours a month of voluntary work, which I do with MS Research and with Food Distribution Network. There are a lot of different projects going on for treatments, to help lessen the symptoms, make life easier for people, but there is always money needed for ongoing funds. F5M have just started up a travelling scholarship for one in memory of the chap who started Foundation 5 Million, Ian Ballard, which allows a researcher to go overseas to carry on research and bring information back to Australia. Take advice and assistance from financial planners, and I can remember when I first started work, I was living at home and my mother made me pay her rent, which I thought was a bit of a cheek. But what she did was she put it into a unit trust thing for me that would mature when I was 28, and I was always encouraged to take out another one that would mature a little bit later, so I had little funds of money to do fun things with, and I would say ensure, protect your income and protect your assets, and do it early. Because I was 27 when I was diagnosed.